Well, hello. This is Dan Boul from 65 Amps in North Hollywood, California, sitting at my desk with our good friend Jared Scharf, who is the guitar player on Saturday Night Live.
What's up?
Hi, Jared. Thank you for coming by again.
Yes, sir.
It's always good to see you, man.
Always good to see you.
Jared's become such a good friend over the years. We have a good time, even if there's not guitars and amps involved.
That's usually when we have the best time.
Yeah, exactly. So today is July 31st. Can you believe that? You can come on in, Miles, if you want.
What's up?
Does it sound worse?
Did
I wreck
it
it?
sounds great.
I can push your headphones too if you want more.
Yeah, give me some more guitar.
More phones?
I was telling Dan that out of all, for how many years I've been using this amp, I've only heard it like out in the cabinet live twice. All the other times it's been in the headphone or in-ears, which is so awful. And you're like, when you hear it live, it's just like, yes.
Oh yeah, man, Miles did a great job blueprinting the amp, so it's very good. Wait till you hit the bump, you're gonna love it.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
It sounds big.
The two times I've used it, I think outside of headphones and in-ears, was the Moscow Maroon 5 gig.
Right, when you filled in for James Valentine, right?
That was amazing and sounded so
What about
good.
the Sting gig? Oh, you play at London on the Sting thing, don't you? The Rainforest?
I think I played this year.
This year?
I used this.
And it was you and Nile Rodgers playing
That's
guitar, right? That's so cool. Very, very nice. Well, let's see. So we've got a good crowd on here right now. These are the people that actually took the time to register with Ustream, but usually the viewership has been getting up ridiculously high. So this is being recorded, so you guys can watch it later. It's getting very late in Europe. Usually we have a lot of Europeans on, but it's midnight over there now, so
They should be up.
they should just be finishing dinner.
Yeah.
Going out for
that late to watch Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, homies?
What's up? You're up.
What's up, Europe? So Doug Guillaume says hello.
What's up?
Hey, Doug. He says hi to Miles.
Hi, Doug.
And we got a bunch of guys on here that come here every week. Steve Kirk, Frank Schottifer, Knut Berge in Norway, Doc Electric.
How do you even read? That's so...
I can see things far away, but I can't see anything within arm's reach.
I hate the sound of guitar through a wedge.
Through a wedge.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And Paul Ovenstad is also one of our Norwegian friends. Knut Berge. Oh, yeah. Martin Gooseland also in Norway. Lots of Norwegians on here. We're popular with the salted fish crowd.
It's great. I've never had that.
Actually, you ever been to Scandinavia?
No.
Get those fish that have so much salt in them. You're like, but it tastes so good.
I'm not a huge fish guy.
You got to go there.
I would try it, though.
No, I mean, their fish is fantastic. Yeah, I know. We raise more cows here than fish. But what you need, brother?
I was going to spit on my gum so people don't hear this.
Oh.
That's annoying as hell.
You can just stick it under Dan's desk.
I'm going to stick it on the app.
Put it on the back of your headstock for later.
Yeah.
There's no problem. So as many of you know, for those of you in Europe, there is a show here in the United States called Saturday Night Live, which has been on for how many years now? 30?
35.
35 years. I have the shoes that you gave me that say like...
Did you save them?
I do. I haven't even worn them yet.
Yeah, that's some collector shit.
Oh, yeah. And so Saturday Night Live was the founding troupe, and Saturday Night Live was John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase and Gilda Radner, and it's just an amazing group of comedians. And the show, many of whom have gone on to become movie stars. People like Eddie Murphy,
Steve Martin,
Billy Crystal, all these wonderful
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, Will Ferrell.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. People have done a few things. Those were all Saturday Night Live alumni people. Chris Farley. The list just goes. David Spade.
Tina Fey.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just endless, right? And then there's sort of the honorary members of the SNL troupe, like Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
People like that.
John Hamm is like the new...
Yeah, John Hamm's... He's the guy that just shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's there all the time.
Bit of trivia, John Hamm went to Mizzou and worked at a bar that I played at all the time.
Really?
In University of Missouri called the Blue Note. John Hamm was a bartender there. But anyway, so one of the things that's great about Saturday Night Live for Americans is that every new band that's really getting traction breaks on Saturday Night Live.
Or just huge bands that like come just to play.
And
like,
big bands come there and play. The Rolling Stones come there and play. You know, that kind of thing.
Mick Jagger did the finale with
Yeah.
Foo Fighters and Arcade Fire.
Matter of fact, when I met Jared, I was there with Richie Sambora as Bon Jovi was playing, and it was your first season there, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm there hanging out with Richie and, you know, being cool. Like, hey, what's up, man? With the Jersey guys. And Jared comes over, introduces himself, and we became instant buddies long before he bought an amp because he's such a great guy and a great guitar player, as you're going to see here shortly.
Well, I remember back in the day, I bought my first amp for SNL. Like, I actually borrowed some Fender combo, you know, from a friend for like 4 or 5 years in New York, playing all my gigs.
I remember you telling me it was like a little Blues DeVille or something.
I didn't even own an amp, and I got this gig, and I was like, well, I guess I have to like buy something. So
I better buy an amp.
Yeah.
Finally.
So I bought this like boutique amp and whatever, and so I guess I don't know how many shows in or whatever. It was fairly soon in the season, and I remember seeing like. You know, I remember back during that time, it was like Divided By was kind of like becoming hot, and I knew about it because I had some friends that had it, but then I saw one or two things. I saw like this Divided By and some 65 stuff at one point, and then I think...
You got the good LA gear coming out there.
And then I saw another time, like it was just 65, and that was, I think, the Bon Jovi, and I was like, what is this, like 65 thing? And it just looked... like this, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Yeah,
man.
And then I asked Speedy, the roadie, who's like... you know,
for you guys that know Saturday Night Live, remember what was the bees, the honeybees or whatever? It was Belushi, and they're all dressed up as bees doing blues. And Speedy was the guy with long curly hair and the glasses who'd run out and just go into the camera and run off. Speedy still works there.
He's like the famous roadie. He's the most famous roadie in the world.
He's been there since the first show, and I think Speedy hooked us up.
Yeah, he was like, oh, the owner's here, Dan. And I was like, all right.
Because Speedy knows Peter really well, because Peter's played on the show with Don Henley and with Cheryl and everything.
Everybody. Yeah, so I was like, all right, yeah. And then we met, and you were super cool. And I was like, all right, well. And then we actually became friends. And then I think it was probably like a year or two into that before the first time I actually came out to LA and came here.
Yeah. Yeah, you came to the shop, and we played some guitar and had fun, and you were playing drums, actually, too. There's video of that, I think. Miles took video of you playing drums, and we're playing, like, Deep Purple songs or something.
Yeah. So, and then we kind of threw out the idea of using one for a while, and it was kind of, like, gone back and forth. And I think one summer it was like, all right, let's figure out what the rig will be.
Yeah.
And that's when we decided on the Monterey Soho combination, but I just ended up just using the Monterey.
Yeah, the Soho is just a spare now for you.
Well, I would have used it. I would have done the 2-amp combo thing, which we were initially trying to do.
Oh, that's right. We had some wiring issues, didn't we?
But the radio, whatever was happening, like just something, the tone was really getting sucked out from the 2 amps, and like for some reason, since I was doing in-ears and in like ISO cab, it just wasn't... Sort of
got exaggerated,
Yeah, it was just too much, so we ended up just staying with the Monterey, and I'm using the bump as my distortion always. That's like, so anytime anyone hears like any distortion stuff, it's always the bump.
Yeah.
For solos, I might kick on like a little bit of tube screamer or a little bit of some like...
Yeah, if you want to push it over the top.
JHS, like mini bomb or like some sort of, you know, guy. Yeah. But that's basically it. And then... So I just use this as 2-channel, basically.
Very nice. And then we're going to send you back to New York with a producer, I think, right?
I thought we were doing the new one.
Oh, maybe you're going to beta the prototype for us. That's right.
Because I think I'd be psyched.
I think that might be a little more up your alley for that gig.
I mean, they're both great, but I'm definitely very intrigued about it.
Yeah. The new one's fun. It's very, very good. So that gives you a little background on what's going on, but... So for those of you, I know everyone in America knows what's going on with Saturday Night Live, but we have a big European audience and viewership, and it's a really primo gig. So most American musicians watch Saturday Night Live not so much for the comedy, but for 2 things: is that the house band on SNL smokes. They are so good. It's like that great East Coast blue-eyed soul, amped up rock band.
Yeah, there's a lot of funk, there's a lot of R&B, there's a lot of like funk with a little bit of rock, kind of like the Buddy Miles,
But it's that
Jimi
good.
Hendrix
It's that good
mix.
East Coast mix.
Yeah.
Because it's not the laid back LA rock and roll thing.
No.
You guys are like tight and
Well,
snappy.
It's
and,
not really rock and roll at all, but we rock out.
But yeah, you rock up whatever
Yeah.
you play, and you do it so well.
Thanks.
And
I try to bring the rock as much as possible because
So
I
all-
love doing the rock.
so, like, whenever they're going to commercial, every musician's going shh, because we want to hear the band hit that
For
outro.
like 3 seconds.
We get like 10, 15 seconds. And so you'll see
so
Jared, he gets to step out of the bandstand once in a while with his guitar and mug for the camera and have a
Yeah.
good time playing solos. But the thing you don't realize, and no one probably realizes it at home, is that while they're on commercial, you're actually singing a lot of songs.
Well, no, actually, for the warm up, we actually warm up the audience before the show starts, and we'll play about
Yeah. Because you were
6
like,
songs.
last time I was there, you were singing a Zeppelin song or
No,
a
I think-
Hendrix song
yeah,
or something.
Fire.
You were singing
And
Fire.
we do Crossroads.
Yeah, that's right.
I do that during the warm up. It's like kind of rotates.
So they just like slap an SM58 up on the stairs of the bandstand. Jared steps out
Yeah,
and just
walk
starts
down.
laying it down. So here he's got like the finest studio musicians in New York City.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And there's a young Jared stepping out owning it. It's really freaking cool.
Well, I mean, those guys are so amazing, and obviously, like, if I was gonna try to be on their same page in the jazz idiom, I don't come close. Like,
Yeah, 'cause
that's their stadium. Like,
what about
Bowie,
James plays bass with who?
Herbie Hancock?
Herbie Hancock. Never
David
heard of
Sanborn.
him.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's been on tour with Herbie like for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and Lenny Pickett's like the modern day David
He's-
Sanborn.
I mean, he is. I mean, he's more than that. He's just a legend.
Yeah.
Tower Power and all that stuff. But all those guys, I mean, Steve
And
Turre,
Sean
Alex
playing
Foster.
drums. Like, that guy's one of the most recorded drummers in New York, isn't he? Sean
no, he's
Pelton.
amazing. But when we get to do more of the rocky stuff, that's definitely more my wheelhouse. So I definitely am a little more like comfortable to just go out in front of people and just wail. Whereas,
yeah.
like, the jazz stuff is like those guys are just.
Oh, yeah.
You can't touch them. I mean, they're the greats at
Yeah.
this point.
Well, no, it's
Living legends.
it's the top of the New York scene that's in that band. So I imagine for you, it's a thrill every night.
Yeah, no, it's definitely.
And just like, holy crap,
Yeah.
here I am with these guys.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I always have this moment every show, and without fail, every time we play the closing theme for live, not the dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
It's always just like when Leon, who's really become a really close friend of mine, he's the organ player, but then for the closing theme, he plays the piano.
Right.
He comes over to the other side of the stage, sits down at the piano, and it's when he plays like this intro, and what people don't see is, when he comes on TV,
Yeah.
there's already piano being
It's already
played.
going, yeah.
So he does what he normally does, and nobody ever gets to hear this, which is a shame, is that the band will just play usually like a song or two before like the sketch, some other band. And so they'll play a song, and he'll kind of come down and he'll start playing like in the key and kind of the progression sometimes
Right.
of what a band was performing that you've
Oh, yeah.
seen on commercial. And somehow, no matter what key, no matter what chords, he'll like somehow go into the opening theme. Like he'll finally
He
like
blends
wedge-
it into the...
and he does all those like all those
Yeah,
like
right.
crazy, and you're just like and then somehow he ends up like
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
that's great.
and he just kind of it's just like it's mind blowing. That's my favorite moment of every show.
Yeah, it's such a great band. I mean, I had the great fortune of watching you guys when I was there last time. With Richie, and when I was there staying with you. And I got to be a fly on the wall and watch the rehearsals and, see them go through everything. And it's a very regimented, like, Lenny's really serious band leader.
Well, he's great.
He's not super strict, like, crazy strict,
No,
but man, he
he's-
makes sure that it's right.
His whole thing, and I really respect this, and I think this is the way I like to run bands if possible. Like, he basically
He has a water gun and he shoots you right in the face if you mess up.
he leads more. He's more of like I'll lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to say much. He expects people to be on their shit,
Right.
And like show up on time, early, be ready,
Rehearsed and
like,
ready to go.
Yeah, it's like you're getting paid to be here. You're lucky that you have this job.
It's the highest
Show up.
profile TV gig in North America.
Yeah,
Take it seriously.
yeah. So that's how he does it, and basically he is just the craziest saxophone player and just musician, just period. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, so
And he's the guy that bites the reed and goes 4 octaves
it's
above human hearing.
dog whistle.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, I think it's kind of like you just have to do that, and then if you start if you're late or things like that, like he actually is pretty lax, but if it gets to a point where it's happening too much, he'll then like sternly like say something. It's never happened to me, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I'm usually the first one there, like in every morning.
No, I remember you're very diligent. Yeah.
I'm like there on time. I'm ready to go before anybody else. Like I make sure, like I look at the music. I don't want to just, I just don't want to fuck up at all. So
yeah, that's right.
Like,
it's a cool scene when you go there because there's all these really sort of like old school serious musicians there with charts, and they're making notes on their charts.
Yeah.
And here's Jared with his pedal board and his 65 going, "What's up?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, the thing is, all those guys can read fucking flypaper.
Right.
They
can read. They can sight read like they wrote it.
Yeah. So if we get new charts every week, depending on what the sketches are and what the show is doing. Sometimes we get new charts for songs the band's playing that has nothing to do with the show. It's just in commercials, and I just want to make sure that I get a head start on learning that stuff, because there have been times when I'll show up and not really pay attention, and then there's like a song that we haven't played in 3 years, and literally there's some kind of like lead intro, and I'm just like, oh shit, and it's like ledger lines, and it's like or something, I have no idea, but I'm just like, and I have to like, oh god, this, and like if I don't look at it previously and he's like, go, and I don't have it, then I look like an asshole in front of everybody. So I try not to look like an asshole. That's basically my goal for the whole show. Don't look like an asshole.
Is that like what your mantra? Is that your headphones doing that?
I don't know, but it's shitty.
Darn it! I'm trying to sweeten up your voice here a little bit.
It's fine.
People don't. Is this better?
That's right.
Is this what you want to hear?
Monster trucks at Pomona Saturday night.
It's in a world. In a world with Dan Boul
full
and
of
65 amps.
In a world full of average amps.
That's funny. Can you do like an infomercial?
Yeah.
In a world with average amps comes a new breed.
In a world full of circuit board amps from China.
In a world of guitar centers.
That's right. So anyway, so let's dig into nuts and bolts. Like, I think a lot of people be interested to know. Yeah, that's you.
Oh, someone said hello, Miles, by the way.
Hi, Miles.
Doug.
Hello.
It's good when we don't see a lot of questions rolling. That means we're keeping their attention. The minute we get boring, you'll just see that screen go.
You're like, this sucks. Tell me something about
What's your favorite
guitars.
What's your favorite guitar string?
I use D'Addario 11. Bitch.
11s, because you are, what's it called? A man.
And my action typically, so if you're like here and the neck is here, I like my strings out here.
Yeah, so they resonate, so they vibrate.
This far away. No.
Well, so I'm sure a lot of people are interested. Like, how does one become the guitar player on Saturday Night Live? What's the series of events that lead up to that?
Honestly, what fan of guitar do you play? So I'll answer it real quick. I've been using the JM6s. I've used 2 different ones, as well as James Valentine's from Maroon 5 was the first one I ever used on the show, which I then gave to James, and because Dennis was there, and he was like, "Can you give this to James?" And I was like, "Sure." And I checked it out, and I was so pissed that I had to give it to James.
Yeah, like seriously, dude, what?
Yeah, but that was like a special one, like and like there's certain guitars.
Yeah. Dennis does great though.
Dennis,
all of his guitars.
most of his guitars are phenomenal. I've only, when they're not the greatest, they're still like better than any other guitar.
His average guitar is so
It's
much
ridiculous.
better than 90% of guitars made ever.
The only thing that I always look for is like I just want that like resonation through the body.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't always get that with any guitar that you make.
Right.
It's
Well, wood is wood. It's not consistent.
Yeah. But he's been the most consistent guitar maker for guitars that I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
But anyway, I use the JM6s. I've used 2 of them. I've been using the same one for about, I think, 2 years now, or a year. I don't even know. I thought 2 years. And then I've been using his new Retrosphere. I don't know exactly. Like, there's 3 different names for them, but I use the like Strat version, I think, or it's like a single cutaway one. But I've been using the Retrosphere this year, and I love it because actually it kind of sounds like a cross between my Strat and the JM6. So it's actually amazing. I love it.
Yeah. You always sound great on TV.
It looks really cool. So that's always a plus.
Right.
But Anyway, so as far as getting an SNL type of gig, I mean, honestly, there's not really any gigs like these anymore. So
Well, you can count them on one hand, I think.
yeah, so I mean, if you're like someone who's trying to do something like that, I don't really think that it's worth your time to be focusing to try to do that.
No, but I mean,
nor did I.
I think it'd be interesting to, like, how did it happen for you?
Well-
It'd be a neat story to hear.
Well, I can tell you that, but I think the way to get to that kind of thing is to prepare yourself to be the most versatile. Well, just to be a versatile and educated player.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that I liked multiple styles of music always.
And you studied music, right?
Yeah, I went to school for music. I've been playing since I was in the 6th grade or something like that. I'm 32, so I mean forever.
Are you 32 now?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Dude, I think you were like 25 when I met you or something.
I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, I'm 47, so it's okay.
47 going on 23.
I'm older than both of you added together.
No, not quite.
Pretty close.
No, you're a
That's
decade
amazing.
short there.
But I've been really serious about playing music my whole life. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And I think just going to college and playing in some jazz ensembles, but growing up doing classic rock and also taking private lessons and learning scales and learning songs and
Learning how to read correctly.
jamming. Well, I did that, a little bit of that in college, and I didn't do much, and that was the hardest thing for SNL.
We all avoid
biggest.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay because that doesn't exist anymore. So I mean, this is like the last gig with reading, but yeah. So I just kind of I went through
Except
a little
for bar mitzvahs.
Yeah, I went through but that's chord charts.
Yeah, that's right. It's all tab, isn't it? Yeah.
There's Lenny will give me charts where literally my chord voicings are written out in ledger lines. I'm just like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like, no, Jared, I wrote down first inversion.
He's like, no, it's not even that. It's like he's doing piano jazz voicings. I'm just like, that's not possible on the guitar. So I'll typically adapt it to what the guitar is.
Yeah.
But it's just getting an education on music and playing the guitar, knowing the fretboard, knowing your scales, knowing chord changes, knowing key, keys, just knowing music, just being educated and
be a player, be a musician.
And being a versatile player and being able to handle any situation without freaking out and knowing how to think on your feet. And I think those are really the skills.
Yeah, I imagine there's a serious element of nerves on that gig.
Yeah, but
like your ability to control your nerves and control your emotions and to smile and stand up in front of that band while you're actually shitting in your pants.
Yeah. I don't shit anymore.
After the first 2 seasons, I stopped that completely.
That first season was definitely weird, but what happens is you get used to it. The thing is, no show is ever the same, and during the show, it's never the same as dress rehearsal, and sketches collapse, and you literally there'll be sketches happening where our music director Eli is talking to us in our ears about all the new changes that we have to do on this thing that we played in dress rehearsal, and it's literally it's a completely different thing, and we're crossing out I've crossed out full pages, we've repeats, tacites, blah blah blah, and it's literally, and then he's like, okay, cool, we're like, yeah, we got it, and then the sketch starts and you have to do it right.
Yes,
there's no practice.
It's live television.
So you just have to be able to handle changes. You have to be able to handle anything that happens at any time and not freak out and just and not be afraid.
So what were you doing when the phone rang?
I was on my way to Napa Valley.
Oh, right on.
I was on my first adult vacation. Adult vacation.
It's like those golf vacations in Thailand, right? Golf.
Oh yeah. It's my first adult vacation, and my ex-girlfriend at the time picked me up at the airport. I got in the car and we started driving to Napa, and within 5 minutes Lenny had called me and was like, I was just like, oh shit, this could be great or this could be awful. And I got the call and he was like, hey Jared, I just want to really nonchalant. He's a mellow guy. He's really mellow, really nonchalant. He's like, yeah, so just wanted you to know you got the gig. And I was like, really? I said really. I was like, really?
You're kidding.
I was like, sweet. So then that proceeded.
But you went and auditioned against a bunch of guys.
Yeah. There's tons of people. I mean, every week I'd hear from people, oh, yo, my friend just auditioned. I was like, really?
So did I.
I was like, damn. So there was a ton of dudes, and from all over the U.S. And then there was a callback with just 4, including myself. And then that was it. I got it.
Wow. Congratulations.
I'll beat him out.
I beat him.
I'll beat him out.
I done kick him.
It's...
So like
everyone is, all the people that were auditioning probably would have, especially the last 4, all would be fine, and be great. It's just, there's certain things that I think Lenny was looking for.
Yeah. Well, plus you're easy to get along with and you're fun.
That's another thing. When we had our first audition, I played 4 songs, but it was after 2 hours of talking to him.
Yeah.
I think he really wants to make sure that you're cool.
Yeah,
you're not a douche.
You're getting married, yeah.
Yeah, like that. And also, he really wanted to know like my musical history, and he really was kind of trying to see like what my versatility, what I knew, what I'd listened to, what I just making sure like could this dude hang if we throw this at him? Like, what is he versed in all this stuff? Mm-hmm. Just really just kind of going in without really putting you on the spot to find out what you're about and what you know.
Yeah.
So, and then we played 4 songs. I think the first song I did was If You Don't Know Me By Now, which is super easy.
Yeah. But it's got a lot of feel to it.
But it's in the key of B, which it has, I think, 5 sharp. I don't know. I'm not going to like figure out the number of keys right now, but there's a lot of sharps. And I was like, oh, fuck. And it was in 6/8 or something like, and I just like between like that time signature and the sharps, and I was just like, but like if you asked me to play,
Yeah.
Whatever, like not playing it with any coolness, but
that was very cool.
But like kind of just being like, oh, I just blew it, and then I was just like, okay, great, like I just fucked up this whole audition, and then I played the second song was that one we always do all the time. Is this on?
Yeah.
They're like, I think it was like,
yeah.
And there's a solo in that song, and I was like, well, I better fucking kill this.
Time to rip, yeah.
So I just turned on like at the time I was using, I brought like this full drive 2 with this terrible broken Gellin-Kruger bass amp, and it was like the worst sound in recorded guitar history, and I just tried to like just shred and just kicked it.
Did you audition at Rockefeller Center, or was this just
his office in the building? Like not even like on stage, nothing. Just like sitting here, like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Here's this shitty amp. Here's a crappy sound. Like, sorry, let's do this.
Yeah. Hope you like it.
Jesus. And he's like, yeah, here's some music, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah. How fun though, man! I love that.
Yeah. What? You're both just kids. Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah. That's very nice. So that was, so when I met you, I think it was 2007, is when I was there with Richie. When they did that album, they played those songs with...
yeah, that was 2007. It was my first year.
Yeah, and I met your parents.
Did they go to that show?
Yeah, they were the proud parents out in the hallway.
That was the second or third show then.
Yeah, it was October.
Yeah.
It was early October, and I remember because your parents were so fired up. And they were so proud of you, and you were out in the hallway, and I could see like your mom, let me get your hair, honey.
Yeah. They've never come since. I guess they hated it.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
No,
they've never come back.
They were really nice. It was very cool. But and then let's see what else. Now your sister is loosely connected with Saturday Night Live too, or was, or is, or.
She was the producer for all the TV Funhouse stuff, and because of that,
Robert Smigel.
Right, Robert Smigel. So because of that, she knew the previous guitar player, who's Dr. Luke, who's a huge hit maker.
Yes.
And
Luke, Polish name.
Yeah, he was the one who originally recommended me, so that's how I got the audition.
Oh, really?
Well, actually, he told Lenny about me. Lenny was like, "Yeah, do you have any like YouTube videos? This is the world we live in." I was like, "Yeah, I can send you some footage," and I just sent him like this one solo I have on YouTube, which is still there. It was like this Bill Frisell song I did. I was probably like 23 or something. It's probably like one of like my best times of like my chops were like really just
having
solid.
One of those...
I was playing all the time, And I think I just sent him that video, which is still on YouTube, and that was I think that piqued his interest enough to get me like an actual audition. And
very cool.
I think it's a good video.
Well, let's look it up right now. Yeah, very cool. So, so a general work regimen there, because I witnessed this when I was there, and it's really fun to see how you guys get your set together for the show, and then he's making sure his amp's all right. You're gonna love this when we go plug this in out in the shop.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You might want to change those numbers now.
The hilarious thing is, like, I don't typically change. I hate changing guitar strings.
Yeah.
And so I'll just kind of play until like strings break, and I play really aggressively.
Yes.
For the most part. So on my right hand, so like usually they break all the time, and so I just wait till like each one breaks. And what happens is sometimes they don't break for a couple.
You just
shows.
change one string at a time.
Yeah, I'll just like eventually change a string like every 3 or 4 shows, and as like the season goes on, like you'll see it like here, like my treble, and it just keeps going up.
Yeah, because your strings are getting dead and dead.
And I'm like, man, like, and I always forget. I'm like, it's not as bright as last week.
That might not be those calls I'm getting from you. Like, hey man, I don't know, the top end's just kind of.
No,
it was great at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, right. That's usually that. If that call happens, that's exactly what that is.
That's
just
hilarious.
Mark that down. No, but I think I'm gonna try to be more on that this year because it just drives me crazy.
Speedy will change your strings.
Yeah, he's just so busy.
Yeah.
I don't want to like ask him to like be my
biatch
tech or roadie. I just don't feel like that's a nice thing to do. But it would be helpful.
Yes.
Speedy, change all my strings every 2 shows for all the guitars that live there.
Speedy,
Why don't you start a tradition which any band that plays on the show that's the guest, their guitar tech has to change your strings.
Can we get that in their contract? That'd be great.
That could be in your writer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. So run us through some Saturday Night Live tunes.
You know, because we have sheet music, I don't really remember them.
You just play them.
But there's some standards. Like there's like, and that people hear probably a lot. There's this one we always do that's like the super funk one, which is how I knew I was having some issues with the amp this season because the cleanness of
we had some tube issues this year.
Yeah. Which is so when Miles was going through the percentage of gain in the tube or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, you had an EF86. It was really, really gainy.
Yeah, so like I would always hear like I'd always hear that like
yeah.
So I would always use this as an example, but it's just kind of this funk thing. That's all it is, and then it just But it's really fun to play, and Alex Foster just does these crazy like alto sax solos. So that's one. You guys you've definitely heard this one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's that one.
You guys can get a sense of how hard he hits the guitar because it's probably coming through the vocal mics. Yeah, he's killing it, which is how men are supposed to play.
Well, you know,
look. It says we're mostly getting string noise over here. Let me mute the mics and do that again. Hold on a sec.
I definitely hit really hard, but it's funny, the gigs that I've done with Nile Rodgers, he's the complete opposite, man. If he was going to play that, right? Like, he plays really close to the neck.
Yeah.
And he plays, like, with a really loose wrist. So, like, it has a different sound. Like, it's swingier and lighter, and he uses really light picks. I gotta, like, get into the thing.
Jared has a very percussive style.
He's like, I can't really. I don't know if I can do it on this kind of riff. Like, so this is how Niles would play. So if I was gonna do it, I'd be like,
right. It's a good contrast then.
I don't know.
It's a good contrast.
I come from like a rockier place, so I just kind of like to really dig in. But towards the end of the season, I started fooling around with like the Niles, kind of like softer. It's really cool. You know, in the SNL band, it's really, really hard to hear dynamics from what I'm doing because everybody is so. I mean, it's a 10-piece band.
Right, and your amps in the back.
Yeah, Sean plays super loud. Like James's bass just is so big sounding.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny's just wailing. Horns are playing. It's like there's so much sound that it's just so like for me, it's like dynamics just really go out the window. I mean, I definitely play with some dynamics, but when I'm playing a funk thing with them,
yeah, you got to hit.
Like if I'm doing that,
right?
Like if I'm like.
Right.
You just won't hear me.
That's right.
You will not hear me. So I have to be like.
You got to feed. And the thing that's cool though is that like you're not relying on like high output pickups and a ton of pedals to pull that off. You actually, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Play the instrument. Which is so lacking in a lot of modern guitar playing.
Well, I got the I use that Red Telly, which is super low output.
Yeah.
And then I have the Fano stuff and the sphere that he has, the Sonic Sphere or Retro Sphere, I don't know which one. Dennis, if you're out there, if you want to
help us out, Dennis.
But the green one, the one that I use, that's also really quiet.
Yeah.
The JM6 has a lot more output, so it's a little more like kind of Gibson.
Yeah.
So I usually might have to turn the volume down on this a little bit just so it doesn't break up. But man, like that thing on the bump though sounds great.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's an extra love.
Man, there's times where it's almost like we should be able to pay. You know, like you could get the SNL for free, but for an extra little subscription fee, we don't have to watch the commercials and just watch the band.
I don't think anybody cares except musicians, but.
Well, I know, but there's enough of us. It's kind of funny because Saturday Night Live is one of the reasons we made this amp look. Because we'd see all these great bands on Saturday Night Live, be like, oh man, what kind of amp is he playing? Oh, it's a box.
Yeah.
And it looks like a Marshall 18 watt. And you just couldn't tell what it was.
I mean, this thing stands out. I mean, you see it on the promos, which is hilarious.
Well, I always tell the story about when I delivered.
I need that empty shell to put on the bottom.
Yeah. We got you covered. Don't worry. Well, but I remember when we were opening the boxes up there at Rockefeller Center, and I hear this voice over the PA system go, oh, okay, where do you guys want to put this? And I'm just kind of standing there, you know, and the guy said it again, and I'm like, me?
Well, I don't understand. It's like, why would I put this in the back? I can't get to it, so
I know,
stupid.
But I remember I was being a smart ass, and I just said, okay, where's camera one?
Yeah.
And it was perfect. I got to sit behind the camera and see right where it's going to sit. And even your lighting director said, hey, you want me to put a bulb on that? Yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah, this sounds great.
Wait till you hear it out there.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Right on.
There's still a 412 cab out there.
There is a 412. He's going through our 212 though.
I know, but when he goes out there, plug that into the 412.
You got to plug it into my old Marshall.
I don't want to put it in 412 because then I just get jealous that I can't have that all the time.
It sounds
And I was
like
like, God damn.
sounds like an 81 amp.
Yeah, so that's a good point though. We should tell people how you run. So on Saturday Night Live, when you see the host come from back of the room and come out of these stairs, that's a set facade, and you go behind it, it's nothing but 2x4s and nails. And down to the right, as you walk up those stairs, is a little bitty wooden box with a speaker cable going into it. And that's Jared's 112 cabinet with it was a Sennheiser 609 mic, which looks pretty similar to this mic.
The shittiest wood box.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like made by Jethro Bodine. Like,
No, I mean,
hey, guys, make a box. We got 3 minutes.
Speedy made the box.
Oh, then it's really good.
No.
Speedy's
the
good.
box is fine. The problem is it's just a wood box. It's not made to
It's
like
not an
have
ISO.
an amp.
It's not an ISO cabinet.
No, it's
just
literally
a box.
just a wood box.
It's like a crate.
Yeah, it's literally like plywood with an amp in it, which it sounds dark and muddy, and then the sound is just kind of like.
But one of the things that you don't
It
get
still sounds good.
it sounds great. I mean,
It
your
would sound a lot better if we had a real ISO cat thing. But
yeah, but your engineers are good over there. But
yeah, they are really good.
Yeah, one of the things that you don't get a sense of when you watch SNL on TV is how tiny that studio is. I mean, that studio is about the size of like a freaking Pinkberry or something.
I mean, when I'm standing, so my amp is to my left. I'm standing like kind of in the corner. My pedal board's literally right in front of me, and that's all the space that I have.
Yeah, you can't move
No, I'm not
6 inches either way.
I can't do the freaking Running Man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really tight. And then, like you're behind when they're doing the news, they throw that facade right up in front of you.
Yeah.
And even it looks like they're in a whole other room. They literally just prop that up. Because what's funny is you can see on some weeks they get the map wrong.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, because I've been there where there's a guy yelling 5, 4, 3, and the guys are throwing the sets together as fast as they possibly can. And I've watched it sometimes where like Europe's over here and
Oh shit, I've never seen that.
yeah,
I've not noticed.
They just put it together. I mean, if it happens to come out close to being geographically correct, it's a bonus. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a fun one.
Well, right on. So,
does anyone have any
yeah, what kind of questions do you guys have?
amp questions about the Monterey or just 65 stuff, or that if anyone wants to get
or General Jared
additional opinion other than the amp makers?
Yeah. He can tell you how he feels about the Monty.
The freaking lowdown.
The Monty. This is good, though, because we don't have many questions, which means they're actually watching and
Maybe
paying attention.
they're all just like brushing their teeth, ready to go to bed.
They're all watching porn in another window on their computer.
I would be. I'm watching porn right now.
We are
on this computer.
On the other side of the screen. Oh, going to spank.com right now.
Yes.
Nothing. There's a little bit of a delay here. In a world devoid of rock and roll and porn.
But seriously, does anybody have any questions? Did we miss any?
There's a delay here. It takes about 15 seconds.
Are you catching up on the back?
I was answering all these. Yeah.
I'm not catching up on.
See right here. This is where you came in. I'll just make more coffee while we wait. That was the Where's Jared?
Nice.
Or this one. Where is that SNL bum? Damn kids.
I like that.
Yeah, that's our friend Steve. He's kidding.
Steve, I will come to your house.
Oh, here's a good one. Did Jared bring the funk?
I have to bring the funk. That is my job.
As long as you don't get the funk out.
I bring the funk.
Yeah, man.
What does it say, Bert?
Here we go. Nice. Yeah, that's about it. What do you guys think? What do you guys... let's ping Jared. Hopefully you guys are still there. Our internet connection just dropped. So what else do you do besides Saturday? I know you're out here all summer doing sessions, and you got a tour next week you're doing in Asia.
I haven't been doing much sessions because I mostly produce now.
Really?
But I actually have been making my own instrumental album, EP.
Really?
Yeah, so that's about...
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I got 4 out of 5 songs done.
Is that the one you're doing that was the tribute to Nancy Sinatra?
No.
Oh, it's a different thing.
I don't know what that is. And if that's a joke, I don't get it.
These boots are made for walking. Yeah, you're too young, maybe. It was actually probably the most wrong thing I could say, which is why.
I don't even understand you. Sometimes Dan makes these like old man jokes, and I'm just like, that is the only time you show your age. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you saying?
Don't you hate it when your fax machine... Anyway.
Yeah, so...
I sent my secretary out for drinks at lunch.
I'm working on an instrumental EP that's going to be out at some point this year. Loving that. And then I also just been producing this artist, Kyle Patrick, who used to be in the Click 5. And so I've been doing his solo EP. It just came out on iTunes. Kyle Patrick is the name. You can check it out and buy it. And he's doing the third ever MTV Sessions in Singapore this August. So I'm going out. I'm going to MD the
yeah.
live band. And
Oh,
we're going to
cool.
go to Singapore. We might go to the Philippines for some MTV exit gigs. We might go to Hong Kong, Indonesia.
Nice.
So I'm going to go and make sure that all that shit is right.
Remember, we have a guy in Singapore if you need stuff.
I do. Because I would rather use your stuff.
Sean Thompson. So,
Jared,
you're getting asked, why'd you opt for the Monty over the Soho in the final rig?
All of the 65 amps sound great. But
Good answer.
this is true. I would say this even if you weren't here.
Okay.
In fact, I really don't like you, so it hurts me to say that.
Oh,
That's not true.
look, man, the charges didn't stick, okay?
Yeah, all of them are dope and they all have their own thing, but for me, for this specific gig, the Monterey just kind of seemed to fit in and cut through the mix perfectly. It gave me the right amount of bass chunk with high-end sparkle, which, as you know, which we talked about, there's a lot of that, and
Right.
I really like when my clean has some thickness, and a lot of amps I feel like lack in thickness. They're either like too bright or they're just too boomy.
Yeah.
And I don't like mid-range typically. In clean, I love it in distortion, but
Yeah.
and I just felt like this kind of was all those things, and it just really sounded great with that.
Right on. Well,
with
that's
the band.
That's the purpose.
And we tried. I think we tried the Little Elvis. We tried the Soho.
Yeah, you came over here and just played everything we
played like
make.
five.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is the Stone Pony.
Yeah.
I love that, but a lot of the more British style amps also just wouldn't be suitable for the gig because there's just so much clean. And I know Lenny particularly always would mention like he loved the Fender Bassman sound.
Right.
So and I'm also a Fender guy through and through. Like that's what I grew up playing. I've always played Fenders, whether I own them or not.
We're not going to hold that against you.
Yeah. So I just like that sound, Fender and a Fender, like that kind of American. So this kind of just initially made the most sense. And I also had used this in some recording sessions prior when he had let me use some stuff for some things in LA, and I really just gravitated to really liking this amp, which if you know me and what I like makes total sense.
You're doing a record with
It was like I don't even think that record came out, but
who was the guy?
Mark Weinberg.
Mark Weinberg. Yeah, that's right.
But I've used this a bunch, and then I always knew I liked this, and just sonically, just up my wheelhouse. I just like the Fender-y American thing, but it's kind of a little more attitude-y and a little more. It's got a little bit more of the Brit thing in the clean, but the bump, I cannot stand like a dirty Fender, like unless it's like a super small tweed or something.
That's so their weakness.
I just can't. I just can't tolerate it, and I like crunch. So when you go from this to this, it's just tight and focused and just mid-rangey, and like that's what I look for. So it's kind of really, to me, kind of has the best of both worlds.
That's the purpose. I appreciate that.
That's just kind of what I like. Yeah. So that's why I chose that. That's a really long answer.
Long answer to the short question. Those are often the best ones. I don't know. We're doing this on an odd day. We do have enough people logged in here, though. I think they're all just sitting there with their mouth open going, smoking. See? Smoking.
Nice.
Smoking.
Well, also, if you guys do have any questions, you can feel free to Facebook me or whatever. And all
That's
that
right.
shit.
We get a huge response on the recorded version of this, especially now that we're doing it at an odd time. So the last couple weeks I've done the show, the viewers of the recorded version have been up around 50,000 people.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, so
Please, I don't want 50,000 questions.
No.
Just send them to Dan.
Send them to Dan.
And he'll...
Yeah, I'll answer them all personally.
He'll send me the best ones.
Yeah, no problem.
No, seriously though, if you guys have any questions, or feel free to, Facebook Jared Scharf, I think is
Jared Blake.
But I think if you just search Jared Scharf, will come up.
Yeah, just type in Jared.
Yeah, so JaredScharff. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Scharf is here. Follow me. I tweet all the time from SNL.
That's right.
I tweet about sessions I'm doing. I just, I try to keep it mostly music related. Obviously, there's sometimes food things and ridiculous, stupid shit.
Baths, houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Now, do you have any good, from the last couple seasons, like your favorite guest host that came on, or your favorite band that you had a good time with? So I know I've talked to you on the phone and texted with you when the show's over. Like,
do you get so mad when I call you on Saturdays and I'm like, damn, I'm having a problem? You're just like, oh, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, no, Jared's wound up. He gets excited, but that's fine. He's a good dude.
Have I called you the most on Saturdays?
Man, you've called me like 3 times in 4 years. It's not a problem.
That's what I'm working. I gotta.
It's a tube issue. No, I mean, you've called me with concerns. We've talked a lot since then.
I just want to tell everybody that I'm sure you remember this. There was a time the first year when the amp that I had purchased back in the day, like, just stopped working randomly in like the third show, and it was really.
Oh, that's right. We had sort of a fire drill that one time, didn't we?
Yeah, and it was really difficult.
And that was with your old amp, yeah.
Yeah, and I really had a difficult time getting any help from those people, and this guy came to the rescue and got me. Man, I wonder if it was.
It was a London. It was a London. I had SIR bring a London over to Rockefeller.
I thought I got it from Rudy's.
Oh, that's right. Because Speedy ran over to Rudy's and grabbed an amp.
Yeah, just like hooked it up, and like I used that amp I think for like 1 or 2.
Used it for a few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the other guys were cool and they got me the amp eventually, and the guy went through the whole thing, which was nice. But in the heat of the moment, this guy
has to call to LA to get help.
So I don't know. I think my point of telling everybody this is, I mean, I think like the customer relations is unparalleled with these guys.
Thank you, man. It's a two-way street.
To jump in here from off camera, that's the difference between somebody making an amp in a garage and somebody that makes amps for a business.
Well, I mean, I don't take it lightly, the exposure that you give us. But also really the fact that, like, I'm a guitar player and you're a fellow guitar player in need, so it's like, yeah, I'll help you. It's fine.
No, yeah, but it was...
Even if you weren't going to buy an amp, I was going to help you.
No, but we didn't know that we were going to be doing anything. That's the whole thing. You just did it because you wanted to help.
We're guitar players. That's what we do.
But that's really cool, and
thank you.
That always has stuck with me, and that was pretty much, I mean, like, it was just...
It's made up for all the other shits.
You have no idea.
In a world
devoid of customer service.
But anyway, I know, and someone once asked me on Facebook, they were asking me about purchasing, some 65, and they weren't sure about it because like they never played one, and like I think it was on eBay or Craigslist, I don't know, something, and they were gonna buy one, and they were like, I haven't played it, like, what do you think? And I was like, dude, first of all, you've heard what it sounds like. I use it every week on the show.
Yeah.
You'll know me from the show. So
it's a high-pressure gig,
So you know what it sounds like. But, I was like, I mean, those things are amazing, and if you ever have any issues, it's like, I mean, you're taken care of. It's like you can't really lose anything from buying this amp. Like, whether or not it's your bag or not, that's totally cool. But somebody's going to want it if you don't.
That's right. You're not going to lose money on it. Yeah.
No, like someone will want to use it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Jared. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be involved. Oh yeah, baby. In a world devoid of chords. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, baby. I got my pedal board over here if you want to plug in. You never use your whammy?
Well, this is the only guitar I have with the whammy, and I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to start using the whammy. Jeff Beck, that was one of my favorite shows, was the Mick Jagger, Jeff Beck season finale of this year.
Yeah.
Did anybody see that? I don't know.
What did they do? Because it was Jagger played with the Foo Fighters.
He played with the Foo Fighters and Arcade Fire.
And Jeff Beck.
And Jeff Beck. And when Jeff Beck played, I played with them.
Right, that's right.
Which was nuts. And
a little pee running down your leg.
Vinny Caluta played drums.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man,
what a hack.
This is just fucking crazy.
Yeah, what a hack.
That was pretty amazing. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, Caluta's an insane monster.
We got a question. Yay.
Do you run your amp full out on SL, or are you using the master voltage?
Do I?
Now, actually, I can tell you, we can go over your settings. The master is actually bypassed, so the amp's on, regular on, and he's got his bump maxed out. So he's got the bump on 6 and the tone on 10, so it's full on bump. But the actual volume of the amp's just in between 4 and 5.
Yeah, I try to keep the clean really clean and not broken up at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want any, because again, we do the super clean.
Right.
I don't want any grit in that. So I run it really clean. I could probably, on certain guitars, I can boost it up to 6. I think on my Telly, I can kind of get up to 5 or 6 before it even has a little bit of...
Mm-hmm.
But I usually run around 4, and I keep the bump level on 6 and then tone on 10. It's just, I just keep it cranked.
Well, they sit on your sound pretty hard with all the compression on television.
Yeah, when I use it live, I can't have the bump on 6 because it's between the 6 and the 4. It's too.
It's a big jump.
Yeah, I wish I could, but I can't. So usually, what I have to do is go down to like 3 or 4. Or what I end up doing is, if it's a gig like when I did the Rainforest gig with Sting and Elton John and all those dudes. I think I used my master. I put the master voltage on, and I think I just tried to run it. So it just, I don't know, it just seemed to kind of like soften it up.
Yeah. It will. If you drop the voltage, it will get a little more compression, a little more squish out of it.
Yeah. So that's what I do.
Actually, Jared.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried this? What is your guitar on 10 right now?
It's always on 10.
Okay.
Everything I do is on 10.
Try this for more clean, more headroom where you can raise your volume.
Yeah.
Unplug your input jack and go into the low.
Oh, shit. Are you going to school me right now?
That's it.
With some shit?
Watch. Go back and forth, too.
Well,
it's a little too much there.
Well, it's also the preamp.
The crunchy.
Yeah. Try just doing one
good.
thing and then moving it back and compare.
That sounds great. Even with the crunchy ass fucking preamp.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's a huge difference.
So that's
there you
a
go.
trick you can try sometime.
Our low input jack is actually functional.
So what does that do for the bump then? Or
it's gonna be a little cleaner.
See, I want the bump
full
as fucking raw dog as possible, and I want the clean as like.
Well, I think if you crank the bump all the way up like you have it, try it.
You can also move your bump level.
Yes, that's what I need. I need the rock.
I can gain up your bump though.
That would be.
We can play
I
tweaky
would love
tweak.
that.
Yeah, we can gain it up.
Because the more bump, the better.
That's really easy.
That sounds weird.
No, we can really tweaky tweak on that.
That would be great.
I just don't really run it too hard because a lot of guys are going to complain. Oh, when I go to the bump, it's such a drastic difference. We want to make it sort of a step, not a jump.
Well, then I can always just turn the level down.
That's right. You understand.
I have it dimed.
If you want more out of it, that's easy to do.
I think it's amazing, and especially with the P90 pickups, it's perfect. But if I can get like a skosh more of just some.
Actually, when we're done, we'll take it out, and you and Mike can do it because I'm gonna have to run shortly. But because I'm a poopy head, I have children that I have to go do that stuff. All right, so Jeff Beck, Mick Jagger. What did they play? I forgot.
Are there any questions before you have to go that we should
answer?
Yeah.
Do you ever have electrical supply issues on the set? Wow, yes, indeed.
That was a phone call I made to you.
That was a bunch of phone calls where your engineers actually called me, too.
The deal was I was having a really problematic time. The amp just wasn't sounding like it used to. It was a little fartier, a little tubbier, not as bright. And I really wasn't sure what was happening. I thought maybe it was the pedal board. I could never figure it out. Probably for about half a season, almost a full season.
Yeah, we had lots of conversations about that.
It was freaking me out. Eventually, and it would come in and out. Mm-hmm. And I finally just called you on a whim. I was like, I don't know if it's the amp, but what's the deal? Dan had made the suggestion to check the voltage, and it turned out that we were running 108.
You were just barely over 100 volts on stage. The thing that was funny though, because your engineer called me and it was in dress rehearsal. It was just Thursday rehearsal.
I think it was in between, during a show or some shit.
No, the first time I talked to him, and I'm like, man, and he's like, we're measuring 117 here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now why don't you measure it when you got an audience in there and the air conditioners are blasting and all the lights are on and everything is rolling? And he goes, oh, it won't be any different. It'll all be fine. I said, no, just do it. Just humor me. So he went underneath your band riser and measured the voltage.
It's awful.
With all the spotlights on, the air conditioners rolling and the audience full, and he called me and said, I'm getting 103.
Yeah, was it supposed to be 120?
Yeah. 117 to 122.
Yeah, so...
And you're getting like 103. And I'm like, okay, so put Jared on clean power, give him a solo source.
So
and all of a sudden you called and said, hey, it works.
They went through a whole thing. They had to put this whole separate power source underneath the stage.
Because when you were calling me, you're like, man, I'm in rehearsal. It sounds great. And then suddenly in the show, it gets a little like it loses its cojones. But then in rehearsal, it's fantastic. And I'm like, yeah, man, the voltage is swinging in that. Because that's an old building.
Yeah. So
Rock Center is built like what, in the 30s?
Yeah. I don't know, but that was a huge thing, and he figured that out. So now I have my own power. I have my own clean power running through there. The only thing that is annoying is like my pedal board. I don't use any pedal power or anything because I don't know. I should, but I don't have like a fully pro thing. I just have my own like.
Man, the guys from Voodoo Labs are right over here. They'll bring.
No, I mean they're great, and I have like I use the pedal train stuff and great pedals, but I just haven't taken the time to really like make a board. I'm just kind of like...
In a world without pedals.
Yeah. So sometimes it's noisy. So I can, it just depends, but it's okay. It's
Man,
fine.
you never hear it on television.
Well, yeah. Anything else before?
Let's see. How would you describe the sound of your upcoming instrumental project?
There was something before that.
Do you have your amp on full?
Okay. Describe my instrumental project. It's going to be kind of like Bill Frisell, Raikuda Americana meets some ambient Sigur Rós stuff, meets some kind of fuzzed out, crazy Blitzkrieg, like Smashing Pumpkins, Hendrix guitars with a little bit of some Kanye West kind of programming, as well as like some Bon Iver, like emotional weight and layered drums and stuff like that.
With a little bit of Hank Williams.
No, but that's honestly that's exactly what it sounds like.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
And what do you call that style?
Sharp. No, it's just me. It's just the sounds in my brain.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sharp.
Anything else?
How would you describe the sound of your upcoming instrumental project? Oh, that was it.
Do that. Nice,
so the bump on the Monterey has a gradient control. Yes, Steve. The bump has 6 position gain on it. It's a little different bump than what's on your little Elvis.
What else? How do you read that shit?
With practice.
Do you run?
And it's a flash plug-in. I can't blow it up.
Oh, we did master voltage. Electrical issues we did. It's the bump. Yeah, we did the bump. Anything else?
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Well, it might be time to sort of start wrapping it up.
Wrapping it up.
Now, when are you off to Singapore? You're rehearsing this week for this gig, right?
Sunday.
Wow. We need to call Sean Thompson before you end up down there.
Yes, that's it's on the 15th of August, and
he's got a Monterey actually.
It's an MTV session, so they'll definitely get major MTV time.
That's cool.
Sean had a couple.
Sean doesn't have a whole lot left. He sold most everything, but I think he's got a. Some reason I just had some communication with him. He was talking about a Monterey he has, I think so.
That would be amazing because that's what I'm comfortable using.
That's your baby.
Yeah. Well, cool. So let's.
What do you think, guys? Very fun. It's the end of the day, man. I should have had coffee for us, shouldn't I?
I don't drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee?
I'm high on life, man. What
a crock of shit. I mean, how interesting. You are very healthy now, though, aren't you? It's like when I met you, you were like long-haired kid. Kid. Now you're a respectable adult. There you go. Give me the inversions, babe.
I used to have this chord exercise that this crazy-ass guitar teacher of mine had back when I was in high school, and it was like this voice leading thing. Mm-hmm. I still remember. I think I remember it. So it was wait, no. Oh no, it was this. No. Nope. I don't even remember it. It's the 7.
That's some serious inversions that look painful.
It was this whole thing. I don't know. I can't remember it.
Muy bueno, man.
Stupid ass.
That's okay, guitar players. And we're all... Oh, here we go. Whoops, wait a minute.
Well, I was like this one, though. Guitar players out there, this is a fun one. Do a major 7.
Yes.
and then go one finger at a time down the fretboard. This is just sounds funny to me. I've never actually practiced it.
Oh yeah. It sounds like something off a Les Paul record.
And it gets really hard as it starts to
Yeah, as the stretch gets harder and harder.
What the fuck? Who thinks of this shit?
Stoned people.
I mean, you need like a... Yeah, that's like that. This kind of shit.
Yeah.
He's like 8 fret.
Wow. Looks very uncomfortable.
Ben Monder does all that. Like he comps with like chords that are like this wide. It's crazy.
It's just exemplifies the joke, but the difference between a jazz guitar player and a rock guitar player.
I just want to play like.
Oh yeah.
I just want to do that.
So you know the joke.
Do that. Go plug back into your high end.
I just want to do that.
Yeah, do this. You know the joke though, right?
No.
The difference between a jazz guitar player and a rock guitar player. Jazz guitar player plays 1,000 chords in front of 4 people.
Oh my god, that's great. That's really good. Cool. Anyway, this sounds great.
Well, let's go plug you in out in the shop through you can hear it acoustically.
Yeah.
Sounds good over here, and I'm in the cruddy headphones. You have the better ones.
Yeah, sounds great.
But it's not doing that thing. Not doing that overshoot. You hit it hard. Thank you, guys.
No more fun and compression.
Oh, it's so good. Well, I really appreciate you guys showing up on a Tuesday afternoon, not the normal time. I'm sure a lot of people are going to see this.
How do you do West Side?
West Side, man.
Wait, or no, it's you gotta do up to do West Side, because otherwise it's East Side.
That's right.
I don't know, what the fuck, who cares?
Yeah, it's all right. But anyway, thank you guys for showing up. I think we're going to get a lot of viewers on the recorded version of this. Jared, thank you, man.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm so glad you drove over from Hollywood and got through the traffic.
Hollywood and Highland.
Hollywood.
But seriously, if anyone has any questions, feel free to hit me up, man. I'm always happy to talk to people and give advice if I can, or at least answer questions.
Now, are you still writing any columns for magazines too?
I was doing the Premier Guitar column for a minute, but I'm not. There's supposed to be a rig rundown that's happening in Premier Guitar for all the late night shows.
Oh yeah, you already did that, then,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I don't
And they
know
just
when
haven't published it yet.
Yeah, I don't know when that comes out. But,
So I got a text from Joe or somebody who was sitting there going, "Hey, I'm here with Jared looking at your stuff."
Yeah, Rebecca.
Oh, it was Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna come out. So if anyone ever, if anyone really wants to know what's happening, and what I'm using, but as I told the rig rundown, it's like certain pedals get swapped out all the time.
Yeah.
Like fuzz pedals, distortion pedals, and
So it's like wearing shoes. You change your mind a little bit.
I just, the gig is such a thing, and I just try to constantly, it's like there's a lot of similar styles, and I just try to keep it interesting and inspirational for me to like try different sounds, because it also like makes you play a little differently or think differently. So I think it's just fun to like constantly challenge myself when you play some similar songs throughout the season.
It's fun to be a guitar player and just noodle with gear.
That too.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Lots of day. Thanks, Dan and Jared. I love my Monterey
Thanks,
too.
guys.
Got it after watching you kill on SNL every week. Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Very nice. Very, very nice. And thank you guys for showing up. We really appreciate it. And I'm going to do a regular show tomorrow, and I'm going to try to have Jim Elliott come by and tell us about the Vox book.
Cool.
And Jim doesn't even know that yet, so I have to call him and, hey, and Jim, I will buy you lunch. But, and then you're out of town on Sunday, and then are you back to New York after that?
No, I start rehearsal Sunday, but it's going to be crazy, and then I leave for Asia Thursday.
Okay.
So,
And you go to New York after the tour?
I'm going to be there, I get back on the 30th, and then I pack up my shit out here, and I leave on the 1st, and then go back to New York. We have rehearsals for SNL on the 4th and 5th.
Okay, and we need to make sure we're synced on that so we can get you all your stuff. Well, this thing's ready to go, so.
Yeah, we have SIR rehearsals on the 4th, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
I mean, technically, I don't, I could use whatever, but yeah, that'd be great if we can.
Oh, we can just put it back in your road case and
That'd be awesome.
send her out today after you're done playing it.
Well, do we want to talk about that extra bump thing?
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, let's get your bump where you like it. That's easy to gain up. That's easy. I mean, it's just a couple of values to change.
Great.
Because all we're doing with this is lifting the amp further and further away from ground.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just make it...
Tech talk.
Yeah.
This is where I
Don't
tune
tell people
out.
how you do that.
It's with the poopy.
This is where I tune out.
We don't have any secrets. There's no secrets in this business. The only secret is you got to do it right. You can copy a circuit and it'll sound like ass.
Yeah, you can clone anything you want, but
You have to execute it really well.
Exactly.
That's like saying, well, I have Tiger Woods Golf Club, so I'm going to win the Masters now.
Exactly.
Really? You think so? Go for it.
If I play that amp and that guitar, it won't sound the same.
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
it will not.
It might not.
Nobody will want to buy one.
Yeah. Well, you never
Shall
know.
we try it out?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, guys.
It's like when you play this with your Les Paul, I'm always like, that sounds so different.
It's a rock amp, man. Well, I play like an orangutan. You know, you and I kind of similar that way. We both beat the guitar, but you have a lot more finesse than I do.
I can. When I want to.
Yeah. You got some style, baby. Style. In a world without finesse.
In a world with finesse, 65 amps and guitar centers.
That's right. Oh, it's too easy. There's so many jokes. I don't even know how to tell jokes and stay clean anymore. So I got to be careful about that. All right, fellas. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow with the regular weekly show, and we'll go through. I think I might. I'm tempted to bring the prototype on because it's getting close.
I like that.
It was good. It was good. All right, fellas, thank you again. It's July 31st, 2012. Our guest has been Mr. Jared Scharf from Saturday Night Live. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, fellas.
See ya.